You know, as I think about this particular series, I think about where my heart is after betrayal and just general hurt. And that's not to say that I am without fault. However, the betrayal is deep, the hurt is deep, and as you grow older, or as I like to say, get more vintage, the one thing that's extremely hard after that amount of hurt is, can you put yourself out there again without being hurt again? Sometimes we just want to love people and we want others to love us. Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steed, Noob from the Ville, and a new series for you, Sherlock. This is Season 1, Episode 1. And yes, this is the modern one with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. So we're not talking about RJD and Jude Law. And this episode is called A Study in Pink. But I'm calling this episode for me, for this deep dive, I'm calling it The Thread That Binds. We're introduced to Sherlock. He is a peculiar kind of dude, and that's saying it lightly. Sherlock, well, actually, at the very beginning, we're introduced to Dr. John Watson. He's a veteran, and he's just come home from Afghanistan. He has a limp, something wrong with his leg, and we see him talking to his therapist. It seems to be going okay, but it seems that he's been home for a while now. He's having a hard time holding down a job, and life is a little bit difficult for Dr. Watson. One of his friends suggests that he come by because he had just suggested, he needs to find a flatmate, which is basically a roommate. And he goes to the morgue and he is introduced to Sherlock. And Sherlock, being his typical a-hole self, Sherlock deduces a great number of things about Dr. Watson in mere seconds. It's almost supernatural. It's like we're watching Charles Xavier, who instead of deduction, he's actually reading your mind. Sherlock is what you would call, what he calls himself as a high-functioning sociopath, which is just a secondary psychopath, but he's of extremely high intelligence. In this series, we see a lady is killed, and she's wearing all pink. The way that Sherlock comes in and takes apart the entire crime scene in mere seconds, just he grabs these deductions and almost, it seems almost as if he's jumping to these conclusions. It's actually crazy how he does it. We see a few other people die before this particular lady in pink, and it appears that they all were killed by suicide. And it's a very strange case. I don't want to give too much away because this is a first time watch and this is my first crack at doing Sherlock. So what I will say is that as we go through the series and Sherlock chasing down the suspect, because he is a consulting detective, I guess, for the Metropolitan Police Department, working with Captain Lestrade. He and Watson are they're on the tails and they're on the right track, but they miss. And it ends up that the killer actually presents himself to Sherlock. And in this, Sherlock, partly because he has a morbid curiosity and he needs to know something. It's almost a trait of his high functionism as he's on the spectrum, that he has to solve a puzzle. He cannot let a puzzle go unsolved. But because his intellect is so high, it is very rare where he is ever stumped or doesn't know a way to eventually find his answer. So even though he doesn't get upset when he can't find the answer now, he knows that he can find a way to get to the answer. And in the end of this particular episode, the killer and Sherlock end up having a showdown, kind of a standoff, and it's up to Dr. Watson to appear to kind of save the day. You know how I love my quotes. One quote that comes from Kika Hatsopoulou. I don't know if I said that right at all. She says that you're someone who loves. That's it. That's the only thing that you have that's yours to give and yours to take. And the quote that I'm basing all of this on is unknown, but it is the thread that ties us all together, that binds us as family and community, is the desire to both love and to be loved. After my mom got divorced, it was particularly ugly. And her and my dad fought over their two sons, me and my brother. And the strangest thing about it was, in them fighting over us, it was apparent that my mom loved us to the moon. My mom loved us more than anything. I cannot say that about my father, but they fought over us, and it seemed so strange to me, and I cannot answer for my brother, but it seemed strange to me that they would fight over us when one really cared for us and one didn't. It almost seemed that he was doing it out of spite, which he may have been, or he may have loved us. I don't know. That was not really a word that spilled out of his mouth back when we were young. If he did love us, okay, you have to write it down, take a picture, because I don't know. When I got divorced and I had my kids, I have now my 4 kids, it was one of the most painful things that I ever went through, on top of the pain and the trauma that caused me to be in that position in the first place. Now, I love my kids more than anything. They are the most important people in the world to me. It's my job as their father to make sure that they're good human beings. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job so far, and I can't take anything away from their mother. I don't do this by myself. And no matter how much it may appear that way, or sometimes it seems that way, she's also involved, so. But after you've been betrayed, that desire to love again, that desire to just be loved. And one of the worst things for me, one of the greatest fears, is that I'm going to end up like my mom. Now, please believe, my mom is a great lady. She's a wonderful lady, and even though she seems like she's the meanest little fire plug of a lady, she has a big heart, and she really cares for people. But the betrayal factor is so thick with my mom that her heart really never healed from it, and she never got any therapy. And it's been 30 plus years that she's not better. And the mere mention of my father's name will drive her into a rage. To see her get here and not be able to love anyone again but her sons, who now live in 2 completely different cities than her. So she rarely gets to see us. She rarely gets to see her grandkids. She's not great with technology, so she doesn't really get to experience that part, to see the videos and the pictures of her grandkids. That's got to be hurtful. The one thing that I can say about all of this and about this particular episode is that Sherlock is, in this episode, he is a hard person to even like, let alone love. He is a hard person to like. And I don't know if it's that he purposefully pushes everyone away, but a lot of times when you have that amount of hurt on you, it's very easy to go into isolation mode. Even though your heart wants to reach out to people, it's easy to become an isolationist because you don't want to experience that kind of hurt again. But you have to, if that's your nature. You have to fight through it, and it may require therapy. You know I'm an advocate for therapy. Because if that's what makes you whole, if that's what makes you you, you have to do that. In this particular story, Sherlock follows the pink, all the things in the pink. And of course, this is an adaptation of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's story, A Study in Scarlet. This is the study in pink because this Sherlock is in modern times. So we find how the pink binds all of the past crimes and this particular crime, this case that Sherlock is working on together. Find what binds you to other people, your commonalities, and stretch yourself. You can love again. This is Rakai Steed, Noob from the Ville. Make sure that you like, comment, share this as much as possible. I try to keep it short and sweet for you today. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. And as always, you gotta make it about this as much as you make it about this.